$1,132. That is the monthly check the VA can send a woman veteran for endometriosis, and most who qualify never file for it. Here's the part nobody tells you up top. One condition on today's list quietly reaches 50%, and the women who earn it almost never claim it because it turns on a single phrase the VA rarely says out loud. Hold that number in your head.
This is Erica. Look at the list. 6 conditions, 6 codes, 1 rulebook. Endometriosis, pelvic inflammatory disease, pelvic pain, and 3 for the breast.
Careful though, this isn't one obscure benefit. The same principle runs through every one of them. The VA doesn't pay you for the diagnosis. It pays for how much the condition disrupts your life, measured against one question: is it controlled by treatment or not?
Think of it like a leak behind a wall. We already ran this experiment with every other condition on this channel, and it holds here too. The VA never pays you for the leak itself. It pays for the damage the water leaves in the beam, and it pays more when the treatment can't stop the water. Every rule we name today lives in one official rulebook, the rating schedule.
The money's real though?
Very. 10% is $180 a month. 50% is $1,132. Same condition, wildly different check. That settles the why bother question.
And here's the piece that should sting a little. Women are the fastest growing group of veterans in the country, and they leave more of these benefits on the table than any other group. Not because they don't qualify, because nobody sat them down and named the codes.
Nova, the comments keep asking the same thing. Your call, how to answer it.
The one everyone asks is this: can I even get VA disability for endometriosis, or is that just considered a normal women's health issue? Honest answer, yes, you can. It's written into the rating schedule with its own code. Normal is not the same as not rateable.
Rateable, not normal. Everything today, plus the full A to Z conditions list and free tools to plan your claim. Lives at va.professorerica.com. Erica, take us into the one that surprises people most.
Start with endometriosis because it's the one people wave off. It's tissue like the lining of the womb, growing where it shouldn't. It has its own diagnostic code, 7629.
Look where it grows, though. It doesn't stay put. The same tissue can spread onto the bladder and the bowel, which is exactly why the higher ratings talk about those two organs. Geography is the whole story here.
How does a veteran even connect this to service?
2 ways: a symptom trail in your service records, painful periods you reported on active duty, or secondary, under 38 CFR 3.310, when a rated condition drives it. This is the kind of thing you want from someone who reads these claims cold, so let's get her on the line.
Happy to jump in, and Erica named the trap already. The biggest miss on an endometriosis claim is treating painful periods like something you were supposed to just push through. Every time it's in your service record, that's evidence. Sick call for cramps, a profile, a prescription. That trail is the claim. And here's the part that reframes it. Endometriosis is often confirmed by laparoscopy, a small camera procedure. If that scope showed lesions on your bowel or bladder, that finding isn't just medical history. It's the exact language the top rating is written in. Don't let it sit unread in a file.
So the surgical report can carry the rating?
It can be the strongest single page in your claim. Thanks for having me on, and if you take one thing from this call, pull the operative report before anything else. I'll let you get back to it.
Think of it like a receipt you already own. The proof was generated years ago in an operating room, and it's been sitting in a folder ever since. History's verdict on most of these claims is the same. The evidence exists. Nobody pulled it.
So write this down. Painful periods in your records are evidence, not oversharing. An old operative report might be the most valuable document you own.
Which brings the obvious next question. What does it actually pay? But endometriosis isn't the only door. Nova, the other conditions. Let me pause for just a second because this genuinely helps. If you are getting value here, hit that like button, then subscribe and ring the bell. It costs you nothing, and it is the single biggest thing that keeps these videos coming.
Endometriosis has its own code. The rest share one formula.
Right. Pelvic inflammatory disease, the ovaries, the womb. Code 7610 through 7615.
And they rate on what?
The same hinge. No treatment needed, 0. Needs continuous treatment, 10. Not controlled by treatment, 30.
Same principle I keep catching in two unrelated fields. Pelvic pain and a bad knee rate the identical way on function lost.
Hold on.
So pelvic pain has no code of its own.
It rides the organ formula. The pain is the symptom the rating measures.
Then the breast conditions. Surgery of the breast is its own code, 7626.
And it rates on how much was removed. A wide excision that barely changes the breast is 0. One simple mastectomy is 30. A radical mastectomy of both can reach 80.
A fibroadenoma? A benign lump?
Rated on what it leaves behind. The scar, the pain, the tissue change. Same for a breast injury.
Wait, so 6 conditions route to 3 code families.
Same principle underneath. Find the function that's damaged. Find the code that measures it.
A code is an empty slot. What fills it is money, and whether it's worth the fight. That's next. Let's have the honest conversation because I promised you a 50% up top and I owe you the catch. Erica Lewis, sit with me on this. Is chasing the higher rating actually worth it? Or does the system make you pay for it in other ways?
It's worth it. The evidence often already exists. That settles it.
It's worth it, but let me be honest about the catch you promised, River. That 50% for endometriosis isn't handed out for having a bad diagnosis. The rules require pelvic pain or bleeding that treatment can't control, plus lesions on the bowel or bladder confirmed by laparoscopy. If your treatment does control it, you're honestly at 10%, and no amount of paperwork changes that.
That's the ruling, and it's fair. You document the truth, not the ceiling.
So where's the real fork?
The fork is dignity versus dollars. A higher rating means a more detailed exam, and for a gynecological claim that exam is invasive, some women weigh that cost and decide a 10% that's easy to prove is enough. That's a legitimate choice, not a failure.
And that's exactly why the alternative matters. If the condition ties to military sexual trauma, the VA gives you free care for it with no rating required at all. You don't have to choose between treatment and privacy.
So here's where the three of us land, and the VA backs it in writing. Claim the rating that matches your real documented symptoms, not the ceiling you wish for. If treatment controls it, 10% is honest money. If it doesn't, and a scope shows bowel or bladder involvement, 30 to 50 is yours. And if this ties to MST, get the care regardless of any rating. That's the honest verdict. Let me put the whole endometriosis ladder on the board because one phrase moves you up every rung. Lewis, walk them through it end to end.
Think of it like a thermostat with 3 settings, and the setting is that one phrase, start at the bottom. If your pelvic pain or your heavy bleeding needs continuous treatment, but the treatment keeps it in check, that's 10%, about $180 a month. Now turn it up. If the pain or the bleeding is not controlled by treatment, even with the medication, you move to 30%, about $552. And the top rung, 50%, needs 2 things together. The bleeding or pain still not controlled, and lesions on your bowel or bladder confirmed by laparoscopy. That confirmation is the key that unlocks the top setting, and it's the rung people never reach because nobody told them the operative report was the proof.
So the phrase does all the work. Controlled or not controlled. Here's the ruling.
Notice the trap, though. A veteran whose medication works says my treatment controls it, and honestly lands herself at 10%. Accurate, and it costs her if the truth is actually worse on her bad weeks.
So what's the move? Don't lie about it.
Describe the worst honest picture. If it controls the pain 4 weeks and fails on the 5th, That fifth week is not controlled. Say so.
Back to the core of it, and this is where women lose money quietly. They minimize on the exam. They say I'm managing, when managing means gritting through it. The schedule rewards the accurate answer, not the brave one.
Said once, and it lands. The accurate answer, not the brave one. Now, where do you actually write all this down?
All of this lands in one place. One form, one box. Let me show you exactly where.
The form is VA21-526EZ. Its whole job is claiming disability pay, and the box that decides everything is item 16, where your conditions go one line at a time.
It's the same charred beam Lewis named earlier. The form is just where you list what's still standing. If endometriosis is secondary to a rated condition, you write it as secondary to that condition, right on the line.
Lewis, there's a mistake people make right here on this box. Say it.
Here's what trips people up. If I list endometriosis and pelvic pain as 2 lines, am I double claiming, or is that exactly what I should do?
List each condition you actually have. The VA sorts out overlap. Underlisting costs you. Overlisting just gets sorted.
And your effective date, the day back pay starts, is usually the day this form hits the system. The rule is 38 CFR 3.400. So file the day your evidence is together, not the day you feel your best.
One more, because it matters here. The exam. Can she ask who does it?
Yes, you can request a female examiner when you schedule, and for a claim tied to military sexual trauma, you're entitled to choose. That's your right, and using it is not asking for a favor.
And you don't do this alone. A free accredited Veterans Service officer files it with you, names every condition, requests the exam accommodation, and it costs you nothing.
One form, every condition on it, the exam on your terms. Last stop, the money in real numbers. A code pays nothing, a percentage does. So let's turn the endometriosis ladder into a real paycheck in this year's numbers.
Take the top rung. 50% not controlled plus bowel or bladder lesions. For a veteran with no dependents, that's $1,132.90 a month in 2026.
Now drop a rung. 30%, not controlled by treatment, pays $552.47. Same condition, one criterion short.
So the difference between those two rungs is $580.43 every month.
Run that across a year and it's about $7,000. That's the cost of not pulling the operative report that would have proved the lesions.
I nearly filed my Greyhound's monthly medication under continuous treatment in my head just then. Newton sleeps through every one of these recordings. He's the healthiest one here. But that's the exact distinction. Continuous treatment that still doesn't fully control it is what moves you up the ladder.
And the honest guardrail cuts the other way too. Don't overclaim. If treatment genuinely controls it, 10% is your honest number, and $180 a month for a condition you already have is still real money.
And if any of this ties to military sexual trauma, remember the care is free with no rating at all. The rating is about compensation. It was never the price of admission to treatment.
That's the whole honest picture. Document the truth of your worst weeks, claim the rung that matches it, and get the care you're owed either way. Erica, bring us home.
Here's the map in one line. The VA rates 6 women's conditions on how much they disrupt your life, and endometriosis can climb to 50%, about $1,100 a month.
The piece I'd hold on to is the phrase, controlled by treatment or not. That one distinction is the difference between 10% and 50%.
And mine is the operative report. If a laparoscopy already found lesions on your bowel or bladder, the strongest page in your claim is written and waiting.
So here's your move tonight. Pull your own records and hunt for 2 things: painful periods on active duty and any surgical report. If either exists, part of your claim is already built, And future you keeps every dollar of the back pay it unlocks. Hit subscribe because this series climbs the whole VA system one benefit at a time, and a like tells the algorithm to show it to the next veteran who needs it.
Next time, we stay on the women veterans track with a benefit almost nobody claims. There's a monthly payment that arrives even when your rating never changes, and most eligible women have never heard its name. Wait until you see who qualifies.
And before you go, one honest question for the comments. Did the VA ever treat your painful periods as a real condition, or did you have to fight for it? Tell us below. Less noise, more signal. Until next time.
Great job, River. I would say 8.5. Room for improvement keeps you hungry. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.